You're watching WRGX First News at 4, your hometown in BC.
Good afternoon, I'm Maggie DeRogers. Thanks for joining us for First News at 4. Cleanup continues along the Gulf Coast almost a week after Hurricane Sally made landfall. Drone footage shows the aftermath of Hurricane Sally in Fort Morgan, Alabama. The storm ravaged through communities, destroying homes, cell phone towers, and docks. When Sally made landfall in Gulf Shores, Alabama as a Category 2 hurricane last Wednesday. Right now, some people remain without power in Baldwin County. Riviera Utilities says it's worse than they've seen in 30 years and called the destruction to electrical infrastructure devastating. Riviera says it's replacing more than 300 poles and is replacing 75 miles worth of lines.
And then on top of that, the winds of 100 miles per hour, and then the storm moving at 2 miles an hour and staying on top of us, on top of our system for so long. We were receiving, 16, 17 hours of 80 plus mile per hour winds.
The good news is Riviera says it's restored power to 40,000 customers so far, with around 11,000 meters to go. Alabama Power restored electricity Sunday night to everyone in Baldwin County that could receive power. The Alabama Red Cross has more than 90 volunteers helping clean up after Hurricane Sally. More than half are on the ground at the coast and the rest are virtual. With lights back on, Red Cross spokeswoman Annette Rowland says the focus is now on cleaning up and restocking fridges. She says crews are passing out hot and canned food along with cleaning supplies like gloves and tarps. As for how long recovery efforts may take, she says it's hard to say.
With anything like this, each community is different and each family is different. So what could take, Daphne a couple of weeks could take, Gulf Shores longer. So there really is no time frame. Each community is different and each family is different.
Rowland says that she does not know exactly how long they'll stay on the coast, and she says that they plan to be there as long as they are needed. Some parts of the Wiregrass area have a long road to recovery following Hurricane Sally. One of those places is the library in Chipley. The library received 6 inches of water throughout the building, causing carpet, wall, and furniture damage. But the most devastating losses were the books that were on the lowest shelves that were destroyed. The books that survived the storm were moved to climate-controlled semi-trucks right outside the library, and they will remain there until it's safe to move them back inside. But the staff is not sure when that will be. In the meantime, they are running operations through the Vernon, Sandy Hill, and Wausau branches. South Alabama farmers dealing with a 1-2 punch from Hurricane Sally may have structure damage on their farms and also crop damage to soybeans, pecan trees, potatoes, and cotton.
Uprooted a lot of trees, broke limbs out, and all the pecans that was on the trees, they on the ground now. And they were 2 weeks, 3 weeks from being harvested.
Most of the state had as good a crop as we've ever had that we're about to harvest. So these folks have lost a good crop, at the minimum a good crop, and maybe a great crop. It's devastating really when you lose those big crops.
Monday, the Alabama Farmers Federation announced it set up a relief fund to help farmers dealing with damage for losses not covered by insurance or disaster relief programs. Donations are tax deductible if you are interested in contributing to help. Well, it's the first day of fall and this cooler weather makes it feel pretty official. Meteorologist Matt Breland joins us now with our first look at the forecast. Matt, how long can we expect these temperatures?
Maggie, that's right. To the week. Talking all about it later on. Maggie?
I don't know about you, Matt, but I was really excited to be able to wear my sweater when I came into work this morning.
Yes, me too.
Definitely. Well, now we're going to take a look at coronavirus headlines for this afternoon. Alabama has the 4th highest per capita rate of cases in the country, trailing only fellow southern states Louisiana, Florida, and Mississippi. Alabama has so far recorded at least 2,896 cases per million people, which amounts to 2.9%, nearly 3% of the people in Alabama. At least 61,232 Alabamians have recovered from the virus. More than 60,000 absentee ballots have already been requested, according to the Secretary of State. The state is expecting north of 150,000 absentee ballots for the presidential election in November. That means more workers and more tabulator machines will be needed to process the votes. Secretary Merrill says the state already has the additional resources ready to go.
We actually provided additional workers for every absentee election manager in every county in the state. We've already got them paid for. We're using the CARES Act resources that were provided by the Congress, and we are providing additional tabulators. That's the machine that your vote is actually fed into there at the site on election day.
There is a lot of information and misinformation on COVID-19 out there, and information is changing as we learn more about the virus. In the early days of the pandemic, there was concern that ibuprofen, the fever medication in Motrin and Advil, could worsen COVID-19. It was based on a statement that reportedly came from France's health minister at the time. Now there's a new study clarifying the issue. Dr. Frank McGeorge explains what it found.
The question over
Based on this new information, experts say there is no apparent concern that taking ibuprofen would increase the risk of COVID-19. A solemn moment this morning on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. at an interfaith memorial service by the COVID Memorial Project. More than 20,000 American flags were placed on the northeast quadrant of the Washington Monument. The flags which face the White House represent the more than 200,000 American lives lost due to COVID-19. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi spoke at the event, calling the flags a somber reminder of those who have died from the virus.
But this was preventable. Not all of it, but much of it. And what could be lost in the future is preventable too, if we embrace science. Science instead of politics. At the Center for Disease Control, great scientists there demoralized by the political overturning of recommendations to save lives.
Pelosi said the flags are indicative not only of the lives lost to COVID-19, but the families left behind in suffering. A Centers for Disease Control and Prevention advisory panel will delay a vote on who should get a coronavirus vaccine first. That's according to committee member Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious disease specialist. The vote was expected to happen Tuesday, but now the panel will study the issue further. Schaffner says there's general agreement among the group that frontline healthcare workers should be the first to get a vaccine once one is approved. It's officially fall, which means some people may begin to think about how the upcoming holidays will be impacted by the pandemic. The CDC has issued some guidelines on how you can celebrate Halloween and Thanksgiving safely. The agency says that some of the lower risk activities, including carving pumpkins and doing a virtual costume contest. However, the CDC says that traditional trick-or-treating should be avoided to help prevent the spread of the virus. Coming up on First News at 4, Senate Republicans are lining up to support the vote for Supreme Court nominee. And the question is now shifting to timing, whether to do this before or after Election Day. Stay with us.
You're watching WRGX First News at 4 with Maggie DeRogers and meteorologist Matt Breland.
Welcome back. President Trump plans to announce his pick for Supreme Court nominee on Saturday, and it appears Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has the votes to move forward. Alice Barr is at the U.S. Capitol with the latest on what promises to be a contentious fight ahead. Raising the stakes even more, both sides are keenly aware that the upcoming election could lead to a series of legal challenges that may ultimately wind up in the Supreme Court. Cool air for now, but I hear a warm-up is coming. Let's go to meteorologist Matt Breland for a look at what he's covering in his full forecast. Matt?
With sunny skies and our highs are back in the mid-80s, but you know what? 80s are okay with me as long as it's not getting to 90.
90s, 100s are when it takes it too far. I'm good with the 80s as well. I'm a big fan. Well, fast food giant McDonald's is doing something it hasn't done in decades. Coming up on First News at 4, the change in marketing that's already paying off. Stay with us. Welcome back. There are new regulations for cruises returning to U.S. waters. The new rules could allow cruises to start back before the end of the year. The Cruise Lines International Association, which represents major global cruise lines, announced the new regulations Monday for cruising in the Americas. The changes include universal mask wearing, physical distancing, coronavirus testing, and increasing fresh air into ventilation systems. Cruising out of the U.S. ports is currently banned through a no-sail order from the CDC that is intended to last until at least September 30th. Retail giant Walmart is launching its own clothing line. The massive discount chain's in-house clothing brand is called Free Assembly. The 55-piece collection ranges from $9 to $45 and will sell online and in 250 Walmart stores. Walmart said in a blog post that it wants to offer high-quality pieces at lower prices. The company has been building out its clothing and home goods offerings in recent years, and in 2018 it debuted 4 new private label lines for women, men, kids, and plus-sized individuals. Walmart's main business is groceries, but clothing carries higher profit on margins. Fast food giant McDonald's signaled a change in the company's marketing strategy recently. Kate Rogers explains how a celebrity endorsement targeted at younger consumers is already paying off. Social media marketing is also good for business because it drives new digital customer acquisitions, which are important in changing consumer environment. Will these cooler temperatures last throughout the week? Meteorologist Matt Breenlin has a look at your 7-day forecast when we come back. Stay with us. Well, WRGX is teaming up with Make-A-Wish Alabama for the 3rd annual Wishes Can't Wait Telethon this Thursday. This year, we are taking the event on the road from 6 in the morning until 6:30 in the evening. We'll be taking donations and hope that together we can create life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. We'll have live cut-ins throughout the day, and then during our newscast, we'll show you some of this year's Wish Kids and how your donation could make their dream become a reality. Well, Matt, I don't know about you, but for the past 4 years, even before I got here, I was in an organization that we worked with Wish Kids. So I think it's such an important cause, and it's great that people are giving back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I think it's such a good thing that our station participates in events like that because, you know, there's always some people that are in need of some charity.
Oh, definitely. And Wish Kids are just so special. And I'm glad that we get to do this tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to see how much donations we can get in.
Yeah, me too. I think it'll be a great cause.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys for joining us for WRGX First News at 4. You're all cut up for now, and we'll see you back here at 5:30.